Welcome to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm your host, Debbi DiMaggio. Today we're here with a very good friend, a longtime friend and realtor, Tom Watson. He is actually within our office at Corcoran in the East Bay. Tom, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. It was so funny that I haven't seen you. And so even though we work in the same office, I hadn't seen you in so long. And I was at the car wash and I started to text another agent and I thought, I'm going to text Tom. And no sooner did I text you, you showed up at the same car wash and came walking toward me. I'm like, okay, that was meant to be. And when I think of someone who was so organized, I think of Tom Watson. And you were the first person to tell me about all the different systems. But before we go into who you are, okay, it's 11 o'clock in the East Bay right now. And as realtors, they say New York never sleeps. Well, I think realtors never sleep. Would you agree?
I think I used to be that way for sure. I do sleep at night now because I'm organized.
Good. I know. See, that's really good. So this morning I already went to the doctor. We got a new listing last night. I ran up to Skyline today to turn on all the lights for the photo tour. I wrote a blog, was running around getting ready for today. And the blog I wrote about was because of going to the doctor and they said you're almost anemic, you're a little bit close to being anemic, your calcium is low, watch your cholesterol. So I wrote a blog on health. So before we get into who you are in real estate, tell me how you take care of yourself because I know you used to run yourself ragged, and I know now you're playing more
Yeah,
golf. So
yeah.
tell me about your routine.
It's important for me that I kind of protect my time, and the recharging for me is on the golf course now. It used to be playing tennis, and working out is critically important. I work out 3 days a week with a personal trainer, and it's just crucial. You've got to take that time for yourself so that you can give everything that you've got to your work.
Exactly. And if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way. Whether you're in real estate or you're in some other career, you have to take care of yourself. So I just wanted to remind people of that. We all work really hard. I think most people do work really hard. So with that, let me formally introduce you to Tom Watson. Um, Tom was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and is an avid Ohio State fan. After college, he worked for Federated Department Stores in the Macy's buying offices in Cincinnati and Atlanta. He moved to San Francisco in 1998 to work as an inventory planner for duty free shops, DFS. After 10 years in the retail industry, he wanted something different, and in 2004, he got his real estate license. His first 5 years in the business were certainly challenging. He spent his first 4 years in learning and struggling. In 2008, the market and the world were turned upside down as a result of the mortgage crisis. Rather than giving up and getting another corporate job, Tom knuckled down, got disciplined, worked harder, and hired his second business coach. It was through that coaching where Tom learned the values of focus, organizations, and systems. While other agents were leaving the business, Tom learned how to efficiently and effectively manage short sales. He developed a name for himself in that space, and other agents began to call on him, me for one, to manage and negotiate short sale listings for their clients. The skills he learned from 2008 to 2011 make it possible today for Tom to work less and enjoy his life more. He serves clients in Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco. When he's not working, he plays golf and spends time with his dog, Jack Straw from Wichita. I love that. You've always had a sense of humor, and I love that about you.
Are
So
you are
yes.
you going to let people know that I was your client
Oh, are you
27 years
kidding
ago or
me?
so?
So Tom was one of my very first clients in the first couple of years I started, 2 years in, now that you said 98. I had Chase in 1996. I met you in 1998. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, he's 24. I think you were about 24. Were you
I was
24 or 27?
27, I think.
Okay. And I
27.
just
Yeah.
remember he's buying a house. He moved here from the East Coast. He's buying a house. I remember just being so proud of you. And and then to go on after you did that and settled in, and then you went on to work at DFS for a long time, but then completely got out of that industry and then started real estate. Now I'm from the East Bay, I'm from Piedmont, so I've had a lifetime here, and I know the area so well. And you came from somewhere totally different and started a new career in real estate. So I've always just been so proud of you. And then we were lucky enough to have you join us. Oh gosh, I don't know how long now, but you joined us at Corcoran, and I actually referred you not only to someone for short sales, Valerie, when I said, I don't know how to do a short sale. I referred you to Valerie, and then you were going to do units. And I referred you to my husband. I said, oh, I don't like numbers. I'm not. And then you ended up buying a single.
Adam helped me buy the house that I am still in today.
Exactly. Oh my God. I can't believe it. It's crazy. Well, one of the things that has always stricken me, this is the weirdest thing, but when somehow we connected when you got out of DFS and we were in San Francisco, and I don't know if I came to a meeting or something or where, but we were in your car and we were in San Francisco, and you had all these papers on the floor of your car, and there was all these handwritten notes. And I'm like, what is that? And you're like, I'm taking a class. You'll tell us about that class. I'm taking a course. I have a coach. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, that is so much homework. How could you actually do your job while you have all of this homework? And then you proceeded to tell me all the work you did. So right now, what I want Tom to talk about is his coaching as a client of two different systems, I think. And tell us about that, because I think for newer agents or people who are not from the area, I mean, it would be really good for me, even from the area, because you have such good skills from that. But just if you're new, I think you should do something like that. I think it's super important. I mean, it's super important for anyone. So tell us about your coaching.
Well, I think we went to lunch at Boulevard.
Oh, okay. I
I
love that
remember
place. We got to go do that
that.
again.
So I think what you're referring to is the all the forms that I had to fill out for my coaching with a company called The Core.
Okay.
Before I had a business coach, I was running around completely lost, not knowing what had been done and what hadn't been done in my transactions. Barely knew where I was supposed to be at any given minute in the day. And I spent probably the first 8 years or so of my career operating that way. I worked
Okay.
late.
So you, for 8 years, you didn't start that for 8 years. So you had already
So I
been doing
was,
it.
so I had Buffini as a coach for the first 4 years or so of my career, and that was fantastic.
Okay.
It really kind of laid the groundwork, but where I really dove in and had to get organized was with The Core.
Okay.
And I was with them for 8 years. Um,
Wow.
it was an incredible program. I paid them a lot of money. But we had to, I think this is what terrified you maybe, was that we had to make 60 phone calls a week.
Oh my
And
God.
those 60 phone calls, a voicemail didn't count. You had to talk to 60 people a week.
Okay, you have
And
to stop there. Where do you find 60 people to talk to? I need to break it down. And I wouldn't
as,
even know.
as a as a newer agent, it's not quite as easy. You are probably calling on people you don't know. And that I did do that for a number of years, was call on people I didn't know. Some people would answer the phone, some wouldn't. You leave them a voicemail. As an agent, 20 years in the business now, those calls are to people that I actually am in relationship with. I don't have to do any kind of cold calling today, cold calling of businesses or anyone else. I call people that I know. I talk to them. I don't talk real estate. I ask them how they're doing. What's going on with you? How are the kids? So the calling part was a big thing. And actually to speak to 60 people, you have to dial the phone about 180 times
Oh
to
my
make that
God.
happen.
And so how many a day did you do? Did you have, I mean, you must have had it broken down.
I was talking to, I'd spend 2 to 3 hours a day dialing the phone. That's what I did. And I had to talk to, I think was it 15 people a day? I think, no, 12 a day, 5 days a week. We didn't, They didn't force us to work on the weekends, even though we do.
And
But
then where were
if
you
you,
getting as a seasoned agent, of course, you have all these people, but where were you getting your clients? Who were you talking to? Not clients, or just who are the people you were calling when you were new? And this was, day one, and you're like, I got to call.
um, I would talk to lenders. Believe it or not, lenders do refer
Yeah.
to agents.
Okay.
I was calling realtors that I had met through some channel in different markets, having conversations with them. Um, Talking to lawyers that don't know you as a real estate agent is really difficult. But I tried. You've got to put the effort in, and you've got to fine tune your conversation and what you're saying to people. You have to be clear and succinct, because you
Okay.
get very little time on the phone with someone that you don't know. Um,
So what were you
I
saying?
would.
Sorry, I love this. What would you say to the attorney? The realtor's easy, the lender's easy. What were you saying to the attorney? Because it's definitely succinct.
Sharing stories, how I can help them, examples
Okay,
of the things that I could do for them. um,
great.
uh, Family law attorneys might need a brief opinion of value on a property that is involved in a divorce. Estate and trust attorneys, they also might need to have some idea of what a home was worth when someone passed away, for example. So
Right.
I can I was calling them, offering to help them.
Awesome.
I
That's
wasn't
such a great nugget. So great. It's like,
I wasn't
yeah,
asking for anything from them. I was letting
right.
them know I was a resource.
Awesome. No, that's great. So that really helps me because I didn't know you were calling on other professionals. So it's always easier, I think, to talk to another professional. So that it, I thought you were, I literally thought you had to like cold call like homeowners and you had a list and you had to start calling homeowners. So that
Debbie,
makes it feel so much better.
I made one cold call to a potential seller in my career. I know where I was. I dialed the phone 3 times. The guy hung up on me 3 times. And that right there was the moment I decided that I was never going to do cold calls.
So oh gosh, so all those 60 people, it wasn't just cold calls to homeowners.
No, no, absolutely not. People that I know had referred me to, oh, you should talk to so and so. I would ask the people that
Yeah,
I know for,
right.
who's your family law attorney? Who put together your trust? Can I call them? Can you make an introduction? And that's how I started it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so great. So this is with Buffini. That was Buffini, right? Or is this the core?
The core drove that more. Buffini also wanted you talking to people. This is a full contact sport, and
Okay.
you have got to talk to people. If you're not out there talking to people, you nobody knows you exist, and no one
Right.
knows that you need their help. Another perfect example of kind of what I did to kind of get my business going in times maybe when things weren't so perfect. My business coach at the core, one of them, um, things were not as good as I'd wanted them to be as far as the business. And he said, Tom, you just got done telling me you live in a neighborhood where you can walk to these fantastic restaurants and bars, and you're telling me that you sit in your office all day and work. The day ends and you don't go out and do anything. No one knows you exist. And he said, I want you to go to one of those restaurants or bars, sit at the bar, have a drink, and talk to whoever is sitting next to you.
Right.
I did it, and I met this couple that was sitting, it was at A16 here on College Avenue.
I was just thinking of
Um,
that restaurant. That came to
and
mind as a description when you said that.
and it I met those people. They asked me what I did, and they said, "Oh, we're thinking about selling." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me. This really works." And I stayed in touch with them. It took about a year or two before they actually were ready to transact, but I sold their house in Montclair,
Oh my gosh. What
all
street was
because
it?
I went out and had a drink.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
it was one of the houses right near the place, the equipment rental place that's no longer in business there. Um, Duncan. I think it's on Dunk. Is
Oh,
it Duncan Way?
yep, yep. You're right. Duncan just sold a house on Leo over there. That is, I mean, it is so true. When there was an agent, one of our agents was um, talking to Adam, and who was my husband and partner, and Tom's old agent too. One of the agents was, I'm not getting anything. Nothing's happening. We go up and down, up and down. And Adam said, come into the office. People, you have to be especially newer people, but it's really good to be in the office. Actually, I had a walk in the other day. Someone just walked in with a question, and we sat down and chatted, and she's seen my name. She knew who I was, but she didn't know who I was. And we sat down and I gave her all this free information. And she's like, oh my God, you're so nice. Like, people don't know you. It's like it's going to the bar. People don't know you. They may know you exist or not exist, but until they talk to you, that's why open houses, I think, are so important, is so people can see you and get to know you. But back to the story, the agent was depressed. Nothing was happening. She loved to work at home. But as your coach told you, if you're going to be working at home, no one knows you exist. They might think you're out of the country, retired. They don't know where you are. And so that's a good thing about social media. You can always be present. So she came in, Adam and her walked over to Mulberry's to grab a sandwich, and she ran into someone she hadn't seen in years, and she got a new listing. So obviously
Yep.
it doesn't happen that way all the time. The important thing is be out, be seen, see it, touch it, feel it. They need to see you. They need to have access to you. They need to know you're around. And there's so many realtors, right? That, another realtor will walk past them if it's not you.
If you're not talking to your clients, another realtor is.
Exactly. All right. Okay? We know about 60 touches a day. I got to write that down. What's the next thing? Either Buffini or give us the high overview of what Buffini talks about.
Buffini is, and it's common across most coaches. You
Yeah.
have to be making outbound calls. You have to provide value and service to your clients. You have to get into relationship with your clients. It's that simple. If your clients don't know you, like you, and trust you, they're not going to transact with you. And Buffini was big on, and I have gotten away from this, and I have a bunch of note cards over there, and I really need to get back to it. But handwritten notes.
Yes.
Buffini's deal was, after you spoke with someone, after you met someone, you take a pen and actually write a handwritten note and put it in the mail with a stamp. How often do you get a little note from someone that just says, hello, hey, it was great to see you? Not very
Every
often.
time I get a thank you note, I keep them. I love getting handwritten notes. I have the worst writing. Some people think it's artsy, but I 100%. So my mother hates my writing, but I 100% agree with those handwritten notes. And I try to write. I'm not as organized, but I try to write. So when I met the agent, or the gal who walked in the other day in Piedmont, she gave me her email so I can send her a couple blogs to help her with selling her home or getting it ready for market. I said, don't make a mistake, even if it's not for a year. And then I did follow up with a handwritten note. You're absolutely right. It's so easy. And as realtors, new people don't realize this. You can really Google someone's name and get their address off just Googling it. Obviously, with us, we have realtors have Paragon or MLS or whatever, and we can get it. But sometimes newer people just don't really know where to get those addresses, even if you don't have it. So it's not hard to get. But yes, super important handwritten note. So that was one of the bigger things with him.
You want a little more on the coaching?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the biggest thing that I took away from my time with the core was systems and structure. I had to be insanely organized, because when you're doing one transaction at a time, you don't have to be that organized. But
Right.
if you have 3, 4, or 5 going at one time, you had better be organized. And the core was all about systems, and I created checklists for everything. A checklist for a listing before it comes on the market, a checklist for a buyer that goes into escrow, a checklist for a listing that goes into escrow, because A real estate transaction is nothing more than a series of tasks that are repeated on every transaction. The only thing that changes is the dates that they might be due. And so I use, it's a pretty old system. I may be one of the last realtors who still uses the original version of this, but I use Top Producer as my CRM.
I tried to
And
use that after you told me that day, and then I got so overwhelmed I couldn't do it.
so I don't use Top Producer as a traditional CRM from a marketing standpoint. Um, I don't send out canned emails. It's just not what I do. The, the Top Producer for me is about a place to put my contacts and make notes whenever I speak with them.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, it's a place where I have that transaction checklist set up, and when I sign a new listing, I attach the action plan to it. I massage the dates, and then I just go through and mark things done as they're done. I don't have to worry about, did I do this? Did I remember to do that? If it's not on my list, it's because I already marked it as complete. It's done.
And
And
is it a
that was
check? Is this a checklist you can put in? Like I put a lot of stuff in Google Drive. Where do you put, or is it in Top Producer, the checklist, or is it
it's a
on a separate?
website. So Top Producer's a website, and you have the ability to create your own action plans. And what you can do is the action plan is set up like this. Confirm appraisal has been ordered would be a task that it shows up as being due 2 or 3 days after the deal goes into escrow. So
Okay.
the platform is set up really well that all you have to do is launch the plan, and it will put target dates on each of those tasks. And
Okay.
then you just go through and do what you're told. You build the system,
Exactly.
and then do what the system tells you to do.
Actually, I have to say, so this was super interesting. One of my clients, not my clients, one of my guests on my podcast, she actually works out of our Santa Rosa office. Mickey, she had the privilege of touring with Tony Robbins for a year, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name. Anyway, some really amazing people. Well, one of the people she happened to meet was Bill Clinton, and she said to him, how do you stay so organized and how do you not freak out because you're so busy? I think it was on organization or something, the talk. And he said, I'm only there when I'm there, and I don't think about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. He said, someone's going to get me there, and I'm just here now. And then when it comes to that time, I'm there. And I thought, you know how many times now I think about that? I'm like, it's so simple, but like yesterday, I was thinking in my mind, I have a 1 o'clock, I have a 2 o'clock, I have a 3 o'clock, and I have to get there. It's like, no, just focus where you are right now. And I'm trying to get better putting stuff on the calendar, but, or set an alarm if I have to. But I thought that was really, really cool advice from a president.
Yeah, and that is another thing that the core talks about in a slightly different way. It's time blocking.
Yeah.
My calendar every year, there I set out the weekly tasks that have to happen every week. Tuesdays, for example, I have an hour blocked out to do what I call Tuesday update calls. So in that hour, I'm contacting my active listings that are on the market. I'm updating them on what's happening. I'm contacting my active buyers, letting them know what I see, answering any questions they might have. So that's Tuesdays. Mondays, I'm going to go through my database. It's the letter of the week call. And in my calendar, I have every week on Monday, I'm going to call today. It's going to be letter A. Next week, it's going to be letter B. And that way you make it through your database and touch everybody at least once a year, at least.
That is so good because when I've ever thought of starting the call, which I never do, I'm like, where do you start? So I love that. Just start with A.
So that is one of the hardest things for us agents to figure out is, well, yeah, I want to call people. I want to call my database. Well, who do I call? Well, that letter of the week calls solves it.
Right.
You pull
Isn't
up
that
your
so
database, letter A, and you start mowing
so
through those
so
calls.
simple? My gosh, it's so simple. It's keep it simple, stupid. I mean, that's
Uh,
amazing. It's It's genius. So let's go to commercial break and then come back and finish up talking about core and being organized and how to stay organized. And we will be right back with Tom Watson.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm your host, Debbi DiMaggio, and we are here with Tom Watson from Northern California in the East Bay. So I just want to, before we get into all the other questions, I wanted to kind of talk just the highlights on the core program that you worked on. And is that program still live and active?
100%. It is honestly my best experience of any of the coaching programs I've had. It's very intense. It is a lot of work. But it makes a huge difference in your business, and certainly your quality of life.
Yeah. I bet they have you schedule time off too, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the really interesting things, and this may light your hair on fire, but one of the things that they had us do as realtors was every day we had to record a new outgoing voicemail. And that voicemail said, today's Tuesday, September, whatever. And today I have meetings here, and here. I'll be returning phone calls between 10 and 11 a.m. and between 4 and 5 p.m. If you reach me after 5:30, I'll return your call the next business day. And when I started doing that 15 years ago, when I told agents that I did that, they were like, "Oh my God, aren't you going to lose business?" And the answer is no. Your clients will respect you, and they'll honor your time off. And people found it to be truly professional instead of...
And they knew you were going to get back to them too, and they could look forward to that.
And you had better honor those callback times, or
exactly.
You just...
Exactly.
You lose trust.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Every day you had to record that.
Every day, every morning, first thing.
Wow. I'm writing all the notes you're giving me, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to implement? And I'm not sure. That one is starting to make me break out in hives. I already get up at 4 in the morning.
How about doing a profit and loss statement every month?
Okay, that really makes me break out in hives. So tell me what that looks like for real estate. Oh my God. All right, tell us about
every month we had to do a profit and loss statement. It included all of your monthly business expenses, and it included the commission income that was there, and you also had to calculate the taxes that you were going to pay on that. And it showed your net income for every month. It was a scorecard for every month, and we had to turn it into our business coach.
Oh, I would have failed this class already. Oh my God. Okay, moving on to something more fun. Anything else you want to highlight with CORE or your coaching programs?
No, I would say just simply if the audience out there is other agents, that if you have never had a coach, you should get one. If your business isn't where you want it to be, you should get one. The someone else with eyes on your business is going to help you see the things that you don't want to see. And it's really, you're accountable to someone. If you are paying someone money to tell you what to do,
right,
you're going to do it. It's like
Yeah.
having a personal trainer. I have
Yeah.
an incredible gym set up in the room next door, and I don't use it unless my personal trainer comes over here and makes me use it.
Yeah, it's true. You have to put out the dollars, or you're not going to be held accountable to it. And so, were you when you got the coaches? I mean, they're the lead coaches, and then there's all the other coaches. Were you happy with the coaches they assigned you to?
Yeah. So the great thing about the CORE, and I don't want this to be a marketing program for the CORE, but generally speaking, if you have a business coach, it's a good idea if that coach is actually in the business. Every coach that I had at the CORE was a real estate agent, a practicing real estate agent.
Oh, okay. I
and they
agree
were
with you.
big. They were monsters. One of my coaches from San Antonio, he probably made $2 million a year as a realtor.
Wow. Wow. No, I agree. I think it's super important. Instead of someone talking at you and they don't know what's going on, you have to really be walking our shoes to know what we're doing, and what works and what doesn't, and what feels weird. And so that's I didn't know that. So that's really a great story. All right, let's go back to my usual questions. Let's start. Do you remember your first real estate transaction?
I don't know if I remember the first one, but I will tell you that I fired my first client before I closed my first deal.
And tell us that story.
I was a new agent. I probably picked that client up from floor duty
Okay.
or an open house, and I had written at least 18 offers for these clients. And this was back in the day when there was no DocuSign, there was no zip forms, and
we were handwritten.
You had to go into the office and pick up the carbon copy contract, and you had to sit down and actually put pen to paper. And if you made a mistake, you had to start over because it was carbon copy.
Oh, God.
So we had written 18 offers, and every time I gave them the price that I thought they should be at on the property, they came in $25,000 or $50,000 below that. And they came in second or third place almost every time. And one morning I had to go meet them at their house at 6 a.m. because that was the only time they had in the day to write the offer that we were going to write.
Oh,
I got up at 4 a.m., put on my suit and tie, and I showed up at their apartment at 6 a.m. on the dot, and the husband had just gotten in the shower.
Oh, my God.
So that wasn't, believe it or not, that wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. It was a few weeks later when they wanted to write an offer. They called me at the office. I know exactly where I was. I was working on another offer. It was probably 6 o'clock in the evening. And I said, great, no problem. I've got to finish this up, and then I need to do a little work to get ready for you. So why don't you come into the office at 8 o'clock tonight, and we'll knock this out. And they said, well, we have dinner plans tonight. Can we meet at 10 p.m.?
Oh, my God. That would have knocked me over.
And I said, no, we can't. You can either come in at 8 p.m. or you can find another agent. And they pushed me on 10 p.m. And I said, you know what? Best of luck to you guys. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, 18
So
offers.
that
Oh,
that's when I learned to respect my time,
yeah.
which was really important. I can tell you that the first listing I ever had was I was in the office. I was in jeans and a sweatshirt. I was in my Ohio State sweatshirt. There were things that you remember in your business that you just never
Absolutely.
forget. I was unshaven. I was unhappy because my fiance and I had split up. So I was kind of down in the dumps, and the receptionist called upstairs and said, "Tom, there's a principal here in the office. I need you to come down and talk to him." And I said, "Are you kidding me? Did you see I'm wearing sneakers and a sweatshirt and I'm unshaven? I can't do that." And she
That
marched
would have been okay
upstairs.
today.
Yes, agreed. She marched upstairs and she looked at me and said, "You get your butt down there and talk to this
Oh,
person." She knew what I
oh,
was going through.
right,
And
right.
that was the first listing that I ever got.
Oh,
And I got 6%.
wow.
And
Nice.
and that guy turned out to be the guy that jump started my career because he owned a lot of investment property in Oakland.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I know, that's one thing about real estate. You never know where it's going to come from,
Nope.
where it is kind of a little bit like darts. You just never know. It's like where it's going to come from. You're just out there. I really believe that as long as you're just out and about doing your life, things happen. And
They
that
do
was one.
happen.
And you
So
were in the
for
office too. You were in the office, let's not
I
forget
was
about
in
that.
the
When
office.
there's two places buyers and sellers are going to go most often, and that's going to be to an office or to an open house. I mean,
Yep,
those are kind of hot spots.
for sure.
You were just going to say something.
The other place that business has come from me, which is it's a really fun way to do things. I was a member at the Claremont Tennis Club at the hotel. I played a lot of tennis. I never marketed myself. I never sold myself when you're doing those things. You get to know people at the club, that you ask them what they do, they ask you, and that's it. And over time, if you're a good person and you're fun to be around and people like you, they're going to transact with you. And I did a lot of business as a result of playing tennis. And I've been at the country club Stonebrae now for 4 years. People are learning what I do, and I believe that there is in the next 6 months one of the guys that I've gotten pretty close to that is going to sell his condo in Hayward and buy a house inside the gates at the golf club. And he said, "Tom, when it happens, when my company sells, I'm calling you."
Absolutely. No, that's one of them. When we first started Highland Partners, and we were getting to know all the agents that were with us and hiring new agents, I would sit down with the agents and we'd go over their bio. And I remember sitting down with this one guy and I said, "I know you've been around for a long time. I know you're Greek. I don't know." And I read your bio and it's so nothing. I said, "Who are you? Who
Yeah.
are you? What do you like to do?" And I remember he's like, "What does tennis have to do with real estate?" Because he said, I'm a tennis coach and this. I was like, "Oh my God, you like that's who you are. You're a tennis pro. You're around all these people. Like you don't need to talk real estate. You're just
No.
doing what you love." And so I always love talking to agents and helping them with their bio. What is it that you love? Whether that's golf, that's not me. Whether that's pickleball or cooking or gardening. For me, so I didn't realize it until later, but when I was a new agent, I got involved in a lot of charity work and I was just asked to do it and I did it and I loved it. And it had nothing to do about real estate. It was just about helping people. It was about helping children. For all the charity work I did was mostly with children that I still do. And that was my thing. And I remember the first time I got asked to take a listing, I was shocked. Number one, the people had already lived in the house. They already knew a ton of people from Piedmont, agents. They already, I'm sure, had an agent. And I was kind of young, and they asked me to list their home. And I remember going, wow, all I am here is just doing what I love. And people can see that you're loving doing what it is that you do. And again, if that's golf or cooking, two of the things I hate, but other it's like whatever it is, I don't care. Playing mahjong or bridge, or I couldn't play those either. I can't sit still. But do what you love, and that is exactly where it comes back. That is so important. And for you, playing tennis or playing golf, you're meeting people authentically. And new agents will ask, "Am I supposed to talk about real estate? What do I say?" No, don't talk about real estate. Just be you. Just be authentically you, and they'll rise to the people who you'll connect with, those people who you resonate with.
Yeah, you always have to be prepared to talk about
Yes.
real estate and the market, but you don't initiate that. If they want to know, they'll ask. That goes back to what do you say when you're on the phone with those people that you call when you actually get them on the phone? Yeah. This was a core thing as well. Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Ask them about their family. Ask them about their occupation. How's work going? What do they like to do for fun? What's important to them? What do they dream about? And then you better make notes in your CRM about the things that matter to them, so that the next time you talk to them, you can say, "Hey, your daughter went off to Stanford. How's she doing?"
Right.
They think you remember everything. You can't remember everything.
Right. Absolutely. So you said family, occupation, recreation, and
dreams.
No, that's just like starting calling your database with the A. This is another one: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. That is brilliant. And those are all things people can get around, and by all means, as you know, they're going to ask you, what are the rates doing? How's the market? So you do need to be prepared at all times, for sure.
Yeah.
So I just love that. Yes, be authentically you and do what you love, but do something. Find a hobby. Find something that you enjoy. All right. So where do you go about now meeting people? Or because you've been doing it a while, maybe things have changed. What were you doing for networking before? What are you doing now? And how do you go about meeting your clients? Where are your clients coming from now?
So agents, you need to find some kind of a networking group to be a part of. Many years ago, I was in BNI, Business Networking International. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And you will get clients from that. You will also learn how to communicate what you do quickly, and learn how to talk about what you do around other professionals who are also trying to get business. Today, the bulk of my clients, I'm in a group called ProVisors now. I've been in that group for over 15 years, and it is comprised of attorneys, bankers, wealth advisors, just some really good people. And what I love about it is when I'm in that room, we meet once a month, I am surrounded by people who have clients who have high quality problems.
Wow. Yeah.
High quality problems.
And how I remember you told me about that a long time. How do you get into ProVisors? And what are you doing in your group?
So ProVisors requires a minimum of 10 years of experience. And really, you meet once a month, and people don't really get to know you or know who you are until you help them. You don't stand up and talk about yourself. Other people stand up and talk about you and what you did to help them.
Oh, okay.
So
that's cool.
It's incredible. It's very different than BNI.
Yeah.
So what that means is, outside of having lunch and coffee with those people outside of the meetings, until you start serving the people in that room, they don't know who you are, because you need to get other people talking about you. and giving a testimonial for you and what you did for them. So we meet once a month. I attend the socials that we have every month. I'm actually in 2 groups. I'm in one in San Francisco and one here in Oakland. And today, after being in that group for 16 years, more than 60% of my business on average comes from ProVisors.
Wow, that's significant. That's
Yeah.
amazing. All right, I got to look into that one. Now, that one is something I can do. Profit and loss, forget it. Leaving
Yeah,
voicemails every day. But I like that. And I just actually, I didn't know what BNI was until we started Highland Partners, and we did something called Workshop Wednesdays to bring people in. So we'd have a speaker and they'd come in, we'd invite the community to come in, because so they knew that this new real estate office is in town. And Doug Fuller, one of our agents, sadly, who has passed away, he was in BNI. So he, every week he'd say, oh, here's someone. He gave us lists of people because he was in Business Networking International. So all of our Workshop Wednesday speakers, that's what they did at their BNI. So they were all ready to come in and speak. So it was really great. I didn't do BNI because when the kids were growing up, because I didn't want to be away from them in the morning before school. And so in the last year, I guess I'm starting year 2 in BNI, and I can't tell you how much I love it. I love the punctuality. It's 7:50 a.m. to 9:15. It's part on Zoom now because of COVID. It's changed. So, and then one time a month in person. I like the structure of it. Everyone gets their 45 seconds. There's a presentation every 6 weeks, let's say, depending on your group. But I love how organized it is. I also love the app and putting in. I already gave 5 referrals and Wednesday was our meeting. Our week started over on Wednesday. And I've always given referrals, so it's an easy thing for me to do. But it's really fun to log it and to do your CEUs, your education, and obviously to get referrals. Harder for a real estate agent, but we got a deal and we've had some referrals. But I think it's a great group, and it does train you to be succinct about your messaging within 45 seconds. So that, that is tough. That's really tough for people. So and you try to be, some people are a little different, and some people stick with the same message, which is fine. But I really think joining something like that, because the networking I did before was kind of just go out to an event and kind of have cocktail party talk, and
go to Rotary, go to
so
Chamber of
inefficient.
Commerce.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
inefficient. So I just love the structure of BNI. We are looking for some new members in our group. So if people are interested in learning more about BNI, definitely reach out to me. But so ProVisor sounds really great. I love that. And I know one question that would come up would be, so you have to do something for someone, and you're like, how am I going to sell a house for someone or someone in the group or the client? But what I'm guessing from our talk today is you could speak to an attorney and tell the attorney, I'm happy to do a CMA for a client, or a price evaluation for you or your client, who, if it was a probate or whatever, and offering that service. And then they could speak on your behalf and say, Tom was so efficient and he got me this and it really helped. So I'm assuming that sort of thing was, something
Exactly.
other than just selling a house.
Exactly. And being a resource, someone has a client that has a problem with maybe a lot line dispute, right?
Right.
And that person's not a real estate attorney. And they call me and ask for some advice on who should I talk to about this problem that my client is having. And I provide them with a resource.
Right.
You should call so-and-so. I've seen that before. That's not really how that's going to work out. You need to do this. Offering advice.
Right.
And I never get to speak to the actual client, the homeowner.
Right.
What ProVisors does for its members is it makes every single one of us way more intelligent than we are because of the people we're surrounded by.
Yes. Yeah. No. And they're all professionals, and they've all been in there 10 years. So I think that, because in BNI, of course, there's some people who are new to the business, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, but it seems like it's more of a high level group of people, which, yeah, that sounds amazing. I love that. And that's a lot
That's
of percentage of your business coming from that.
and the wonderful thing is that is, me. I am not you. You are the marketing queen, and I don't do a lot of the marketing stuff. I pay $4,600 a year to be part of these two groups, and 60+% of my business comes from it.
It's
So
amazing.
that is the biggest portion of my marketing budget, if I could even say I had a marketing budget. And
Wow.
it's the ROI and the effort. It couldn't be more perfect.
That's amazing. No, I know. And a lot of new agents, let's say a lot of new agents are like, I'm getting in the business. I don't have any money, right? It's like, how do I, right? That's their biggest thing is like, I don't have money to market. Well, I mean, I had a friend I was trying to help. I'm like, she was waiting for her business card. I go, what are you going to do with a freaking business card? Like, you have a cell phone. I said, I don't even need your business card. I'm going to put you right in. Like the client we just had, her name was Jean. We had a first conversation, and then, so I had her in as Jeannie Skyline because that was her house. And so a month goes by and I'm sitting there and I see Jeannie Skyline, Who's that? It's like, it's anyway. So you don't need a business card. You don't need to market. Showing up, being out in front, be at open houses. We've talked to many people on my podcast. I've spoken to many people on my podcast who are new agents, and they were doing open houses every day. It doesn't have to be on a Saturday or Sunday. It could be any day. Just like you were saying, go down to the bar or the cafe, be out, be seen, talk to
Yep.
people.
And if
Don't
you
be
don't have any money, go volunteer.
exactly,
It costs you
exactly.
gas. That's all it costs you.
Right. There's so many things, but new agents get so hooked up. I have to send a postcard. I have to
No, you
do that.
don't.
So that was my question to you was, do you do postcard marketing, or
Mm.
do you do email marketing? Not the email's free,
So,
but do you do postcard marketing? Or does Buffini or the court tell you to do postcard marketing?
so I have not been I haven't had a business coach for a number of years, because I've got the systems down and it's really up to me to execute it. And I do a decent job today, not quite as good as I did when I had that accountability coach. But
Hit me over the
um,
head.
as far as the postcards go, I used to do a postcard on the front end and back end of every listing. And it costs, you send out 300 of them or so, you're going to do 300, $400 on the front end, 300, $400 on the back end. And probably 5 years ago, I kind of chuckled when I was opened my mailbox and I saw all the postcards and I walked straight to the recycling bin
I
and
know.
I threw them away. And I was like, and it wasn't even a cost saving thing for me. It was, why am I spending this money? Why am I doing this when I throw these things away?
Right.
And I know that there is value to creating brand recognition, and having your name repeat in front of people's eyes over and over again. It takes years to do it. I chose to stop doing the postcards and focus on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I do happy hours once a month for my clients. I have around 200 people that are on my paperless post address book. And once a month, I invite people to a happy hour, and I will get anywhere from 5 to 30 people show up. And I used to do it and worry that no one would show up. And it didn't matter to me if only 5 people showed up. It meant that I got to spend more time with those
Mm-hmm.
5 people instead of working the room of 20 or 30. And
Absolutely. Do this once a month.
once a month, I used to do it twice a month. I
Wow.
used to do one in San Francisco and one in Oakland. And
Wow.
now the bulk of my business comes from the East Bay. I used to do half my business in the city, but most of it's over here. So now it's just once a month, and it's
Wow.
fantastic. And during the pandemic, you couldn't do that stuff, and
Right.
I didn't do them last year. I was lazy. The pandemic made a lot of us lazy, and this year I decided to start it back up. And the first one I hosted was probably in March, I think. And I hadn't done one in 3 years because of the pandemic.
Right.
I had more people show up to that open house or that happy hour than I'd
Wow.
ever had show up. There were 35 people at that happy hour.
Wow.
And it was
And
awesome. People
not
wanted that. They yearned for that connection.
right. And not to mention all the people that received it. They might not have been able to
That's right.
go, but you just marketed an offering of something.
That's
So
100%. It's not about whether or not somebody shows up. It's you invited them and your name came across their email, or you called them. And I also follow up and call people and invite
right.
them. That's another
Okay.
reason to call. If
Right.
you are looking for, well, what do I say to people? What do I, when I call them, what do I say? Invite them to a happy hour.
Yeah.
And
Did you get my invite? Just wanted to remind you.
Yep. And if you're an agent who is new and money is a problem, you can solve that too. You can limit the number of people. You can close it down after you have a certain number of attendees confirmed. And you can work with the restaurant or bar or wherever you're going, and you can give people tickets and you can buy them 2 drinks and that's it. There's ways around everything.
And then the other thing is I did it, I think once, partner up with a lender and
Yep.
you just split it in half already. And there's plenty of people or other different service providers you can do that with. But that's so great. That one is definitely on my list. I got to get back to that. There's so many good nuggets here. It is fun. It is fun. And you're inviting someone to something, and it, gives them an opportunity to be a part of something. I've done, when we've had really nice listings, a lot of times we'll do like a cocktail party, and I invite not only the neighbors, but other realtors to come, and just to create a nice energy and environment around the listing, and people have fun and hire a photographer, and it lives on. Once you photograph an event, like any of the events you're doing, it lives on through social media and it continues to be on. I remember the photo of this really cute photo of this couple Adam sold to and their baby. And now that baby, I have to find that photo and send it to them. It was such a cute photo of their baby. And now the baby's probably graduated college, but it really creates just so much momentum, and people love it and they appreciate it. So we only had one commercial. We usually have 3. We've been talking so much. It's been so fun. So what are some last words that you would want to share? I mean, you've shared so much. It's been amazing, but what advice would you give to your younger self?
Okay, gonna get real honest here. Be nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
To yourself.
To myself, to other people. I was very type A, aggressive, intense individual in the retail space, and that space called for that. I was a good fit for that, because I went out there and I got it, and it was kind of get out of my way. And in this business, and honestly in life, God, you get so much more if you're just nice.
Yeah.
I view the other agents now on the other side of a transaction not as an adversary, which is how I looked at them my first couple years in the business, but we're all trying to get to the same place, just with slightly different results. Slightly different. We're all trying to close the deal. And if you are kind to the other agent on the other side of the deal and you're working together to solve problems, life is going to be so much better for you and for your clients.
Absolutely. That is my favorite tagline of mine, is we're colleagues, not competitors. And so many people, and it's interesting to say you didn't get that before, but you came from a different industry and it wasn't like that. In real estate, we all work together because if I have a listing and you're going to have a buyer, we both want the same thing, and we've got to work for our clients to get there. We are not adversaries. We need to work together for the benefit of our clients. And it does not behoove us to not be nice to one another. So it's interesting. You really had to transition.
It was a big shift for me. This
Yeah.
isn't the corporate world, and you're not out there, destroying everyone that gets in your way.
Right. Trying to get ahead. I can't even imagine. I've never been in a corporate world, so I can't. Oh, I would hate it.
Well, the mortgage crisis is what led me to, I can never go back to that space again, and I just have to knuckle down, and I got to sort this out. Yep.
So it's possible. I mean, I know, a lot of agents spend so much time getting their license, and then they day one of after they have their license, they're so excited, and they come in and they're like, now what? So agents really need to understand that it's a full-time job, and it's a corporate job. But I mean, you have to be in it, really in it, and love it, or it's not going to work. It's not easy.
Yep.
And all the work you put in is so amazing. And I'm still so proud of you. I'm such a mom, but I'm still proud of that 27-year-old boy. And now my son is 28, and you were 27 buying a house. And I remember, and Chase who's now 28, was 2 years old, not even 2 when I met you. And I just remember going, wow, that is so amazing. Came all the way across the country.
You showed me that house that I bought 3 times, and I'll never forget. I told you, I'm not buying this house. You said, why? And I said, it's got a pink bathroom.
Oh,
pink. I said, I work in the cosmetics industry. I cannot buy a house with a pink bathroom.
Oh my
and you
God.
said, Tom, you can change it.
I knew it was. I remember it was on Harborview. I remember
Yep.
the house well. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much, Tom Watson. It's on Instagram, Realtor Tom Watson, because I was trying to tag you and I couldn't. Then I couldn't see without my glasses, and I'm like, no, what is it? At Realtor Tom Watson. Find him. I tagged him on my Instagram, DiMaggio and Betta and Debbi DiMaggio, and you can reach Tom by going through me, or Tom at where else can we reach you, Tom?
Oh boy. You can call me if you want to call me. Happy to chat. You can find me online. Do I throw my phone number out here? What do I do?
You can, but we'll have it. Your information will be all over all the different Spotify, Apple, everywhere else, YouTube. You will be out there, and I will continue to post. You're actually on my Facebook right now as well. And thank you so much for joining today. This is a wrap for Mastering the Art of Real Estate, and what a fun morning. And are you off to play golf now?
I do have a tee time at 3:30 today. Yeah.
And I'm off to play pickleball.
There you go. My dad comes into town
my
tomorrow
phone,
night.
of course, working all the way. But
yeah.
All right, sweetie. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining Mastering the Art of Real Estate, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Real Estate with host Debbi DiMaggio. Here Fridays, noon Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network. Tune in to where real estate matters matter.